ProPublica is out with more new reporting on Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. According to ProPublica, Justice Thomas secretly attended at least 2 donor events for the Koch network over the years. That's the powerful conservative political organization supported by the billionaire Koch brothers. As ProPublica points out, quote, that puts Thomas in the extraordinary position of having served as a fundraising draw for a network that has brought cases before the Supreme Court, including one of the most closely watched of the upcoming term.
Justice Thomas did not respond to ProPublica's questions for the story, but a spokesperson for the Koch network told ProPublica the idea attending a couple of events to promote a book or give dinner remarks, as all of the justices do, could somehow be undue influence, just doesn't hold water. Joining us now, one of the reporters who broke this story for ProPublica, Justin Elliott. We appreciate your time. You guys have done a ton of reporting on this throughout the course of the last several months. On this specifically, I think what's striking to me, and you factor in the response from the Koch network spokesperson, is like these donors aren't paying to not have dinner with Clarence. Like, my assumption is the donors know what they're getting when they put this money, which is why the dinner is set up. Is that kind of your sense of things?
Yeah, so, to give you an example, where the Koch network has these annual summits for donors. You have to give at least $100,000 to even get an invite. Some people give millions out in Palm Springs every winter. And Justice Thomas went to one of these summits to have dinner with the donors. And we talked to a lot of Koch network staffers who said this was seen as basically giving a perk to these high-dollar donors, and which, judges we spoke to, judicial ethics experts said this is just totally beyond the pale in terms of what a judge should be doing. Judges aren't supposed to be involved in either politics or fundraising, and this is essentially both.
It's interesting because you've brought some of this to the forefront, where Justice Thomas has had to now redo and sort of reveal some of the things that he has done, some of the things and gifts that he has gotten in the past. But your reporter also talks about this 2018 flight to Palm Springs. It's an apparent violation of federal law. Explain that.
Yeah, so, one of the themes with the Supreme Court is there's actually, ironically, very few ethics rules, but one of, basically the one rule there is if you get expensive gifts like private jet flights, you have to disclose them every year on this annual form. And another theme with Justice Thomas and these stories is secrecy. So we found that he was flown on this private jet out to Palm Springs for this Koch donor event. It's actually still not clear who paid for that. Koch's actually said they didn't pay for it, and Justice Thomas didn't respond to us, but we would know who paid for it if the justice had put it on his annual disclosure form, as the law requires, as many ethics lawyers have told us. So, as you mentioned, we reached out to the Supreme Court and Justice Thomas for comment. They didn't respond. Sometimes they respond after the stories come out. So. We'll see. Still a lot of unanswered questions there.
Sometimes they respond after the stories come out. They respond typically. Why they don't do it on the front end, I've never quite gotten my head around. The connection between what the Koch brothers, their network, and their allies care about at the Supreme Court. I think that's a really important part of that, especially given the case that's coming up, which is a huge issue for not just the Koch network, but I think conservatives in general. Lay that out.
Yeah, one thing a lot of people don't understand about the Kochs, their election spending is well known, but they actually also employ lawyers and fund lawsuits in the Supreme Court. There's a very big case coming up in this upcoming term in the fall or next spring that has to do with the government's power to issue regulations and things like the environment, labor standards, something that the Koch network has been, long opposed. And so this case coming up, it's called Loper Bright. The Koch network brought it to the Supreme Court. And, the people we spoke to for this story said Justice Thomas's undisclosed relationship with the Koch network, raises questions about whether he can be impartial in a case that the Koch network has brought at the court. So it's another thing that, we'll be watching.
You reported a lot on sort of the monies given to him by Harlan Crow, or given, buying the house for his mother that she can live in for the rest of her life rent-free. And now you have this information. Is this just a major sort of breach and bungling of the norms that we expect from particularly the Supreme Court justices?
Yeah, another aspect of this story is that Harlan Crow, this Texas wealthy political donor who takes Justice Thomas on vacations around the country and around the world, has taken him to these retreats in California where Justice Thomas actually developed this relationship with the Koch brothers at this retreat called the Bohemian Grove. And yeah, I think what we've been told is that it's just not a common or sort of acceptable thing for judges or justices to be accepting this kind of largesse year after year, private jet flights, free vacations, the undisclosed real estate transaction you mentioned, and this, what we found in this story is just even more examples of that from Harlan Crow.
No matter what, often the appearance of influence is just as problematic as actually the influence itself. So thank you so much for joining us. The really good reporting.
Thanks.